experiences from around the world. It's July 2015, and I have started a 2-day trip up the slopes of Mount Parnonas, where I intend to explore some of the picturesque villages that lie in this beautiful area. I began my trip from Athens, and my first stop was at the village of St. Peter, about 200 kilometers south of the capital. It is a mountain village on the north side of Parnonas at an altitude of 950 meters and has 675 inhabitants. It's a traditional village, and its beautiful square is dominated by the church of Saints Peter and Paul. It is one of the oldest touristic villages in the area and is 5 kilometers from the famous monastery of Panagia Malevi, where religious people have been coming for decades. The village has nice taverns and is worth visiting if you're in the area. St. Peter and the surrounding villages are chosen by many hikers and climbers, as there are paths that lead to the peaks of Mount Parnonas and to the mountain lodge. After my short stop, I continue south toward Costanza. At some point, I took a wrong turn and got lost, eventually making a big circle before reaching my destination. The distance from St. Peter to Costanza is 29 kilometers, whereas I traveled 41 kilometers. It's a beautiful route, but it's rather hot out, which makes riding a bit unpleasant. But on the other hand, I had the chance to see the village of Agios Ioannis, and although I didn't stop, I liked what I saw a lot, and will keep it in mind for a future trip. The route is windy country road, and I'm really enjoying riding it. In the village of Siena, I make a stop at a fountain to drink some water and cool off a bit. After about 6 kilometers, I will reach Costanza. Costanza is a mountainous village in Arcadia, built on the slopes of Mount Parnonas at an altitude of 840 meters. It belongs to Tsakanochoria, the villages that were founded by Tsakones. The residents here speak a unique modern Greek dialect. The traditional Tsakonian architecture, characterized by houses with stone slate roofs, remain preserved even today. At the top of the northern hill above the village lies the ruins of a castle built in the 14th century in order to fortify the region. Costanza is a traditional village with a beautiful square in which it is worth sitting and drinking a glass of wine, especially in the afternoon. It's quite picturesque and definitely my favorite destination in the region. I had visited it once before in June 2012, where I stayed overnight. Leaving Costanza behind, I head south to a greener setting with many trees to get to Polydroso. The distance is 24 kilometers, but will take me about 40 minutes to get there, as the road is rather windy. Polydroso is a mountainous village in Laconia, built on the slopes of Mount Parnonas, at an altitude of 1,100 meters. It is one of the most mountainous villages in Laconia, and there are only 51 permanent residents here. In winter, almost everyone abandons it, as the temperature falls to below 0 degrees Celsius, while snowfall can reach more than half a meter. But in the summer, the natural beauty of the village, with its plane trees, is an attraction for locals and others passing through. Polydroso was previously called Tsitsina, as they speak the Tsakonian dialect here as well. I stayed for a while in the village and ate with a group of locals who live abroad and visit only for a few days in the summer. We laughed, I had some cold beer, and then started off for the village of Kosmas. I chose the shortest route in kilometers, which is the more difficult one, as almost half of it is on dirt road. For someone who is familiar with this route and has the proper tires for it, it might not be so bad, but for me with a GS and with tires made only for roads, it was really tiring. I knew all of this, of course, as I've done it before. The total distance is 35 kilometers, and it will need more than an hour to arrive at my destination. At last, I'm on a normal road again and continue my way through the mountain. I arrive at the cosmopolitan village of Kosmas and park in the center, just in front of the huge church of St. Anargidi. Kosmas is a traditional mountain village in Arcadia, at an altitude of 1,150 meters. It is a popular tourist destination, especially on weekends, when it becomes full of people enjoying a meal, coffee, or dessert in the beautiful square with the perennial plane trees. The stone houses here were built after the Second World War, when, on January 20th, 1944, German troops destroyed 498 of the 505 houses in the village. After a quick Greek coffee, I begin my ride to Leonidio, where I'll finish for the day and stay overnight in Poulitra. It is a pleasant route for motorcyclists, as I enjoy it regardless of how many times I've ridden it before. Nice bends, beautiful scenery, and pretty good roads. A route you should definitely take if you haven't done so before. I arrive at Leonidio, and once again the imposing red rock directly above impresses me. Leonidio is a town in Arcadia with 3,800 residents. It was developed after 1826, when the Turkish army of Ibrahim destroyed the old capital of Kinuria, Brastos, forcing most residents to flee from there. It's characterized as a traditional settlement, but to be honest, even though I've passed through it many times, I've never stopped. Once more, I continue on my way to Poulitra without stopping. The road leads to the sea, and the first village you encounter is Blaka. It has a small beach with some seaside taverns. After riding 3.5 kilometers along the beach road, I arrive at Poulitra, an area that I have heard so much about from friends but had never visited. The sun has fallen and I will go straight to the beach for a swim. The beach is pretty decent, with small pebbles, and with a nice cafe where I enjoyed a few beers. I like that the trees almost reach the sea and you can protect yourself from the sun in the shade. At night, the village was crowded, and I had a hard time finding somewhere to sit at first. Eventually, I ate at a tavern right on the beach, but then went to rest because I wanted to get up early in the morning and head to my next destination, Nafplio.